Welcome to Sacred Harmony. We are joined by Robert Hamburger, writer, seeker, and bold voice exploring the raw terrain of human transformation. With decades of introspective work, Robert brings us into a strange beauty of life's contradictions, where pain becomes teacher and authenticity becomes liberation. Together, we'll reflect on what it truly means to thrive in a world that often feels uncertain, chaotic, and yet full of hidden possibilities. Welcome to the show, Robert. It's such an honor to have.
Thank you for having me.
So, Robert, when you talk about thriving in our strange world, what does thriving look like to you beyond the usual definition of success?
Right now, in today's world, I think many of us are carrying fear. These are such uncertain times, and the news is so depressing. It's a continual quest to just keep one's balance, internal balance.
Yeah, makes sense. And how can someone begin to move from merely surviving to actually thriving?
Trusting, digging deep within oneself and trusting. I mean, there's nothing we have but the present moment, and the more we accept it freely and not fight it, the wiser decisions that we're capable of making when we make them from a balanced place rather than a fearful place.
That's refreshing, like thriving not as reaching a destination, but as embracing life as it is.
Right. I mean, that's all we got is what we got. So making peace with what we've got is the first step in creating steps forward that might serve us better.
Yeah. And much of your work explores pain as a teacher. How can we learn to sit with discomfort without being consumed by it?
You've got to surrender to it. I mean, it's there. And to fight it, the old saying, what you resist persists. And welcoming pain as a teacher is the first step. I mean, it's not comfortable, it's not easy, but going into it is the only way out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And has there been a moment in your own life where pain revealed an unexpected gift?
The most one of the most poignant memories I have was the loss of my first adult dog. And it was sudden. And I really was, I would even say, acutely clinically depressed in those first couple weeks. And I remember my brother-in-law, who was an MD, saying, "Why don't I call in a prescription for something that will help alleviate the suffering?" And I don't remember what he wanted to call in, but I said to him, I said, "No, I losing a dog is it's painful, but this is just the flip side of joy. And in this pain like this created some of the most famous works of art, music ever in history. And let me be with the pain. This is rich and this is informative, even though I don't enjoy this in any way whatsoever." And so I welcomed it, and I was sort of comatose for a couple weeks. I was with it, and chasing joy didn't matter. It would have been false anyway.
Yeah, that's so powerful because it shows that what we resist most can sometimes become a greatest guide.
Correct. Yeah, being open to it and being open to the messages that carry give us direction to go forward and make better decisions.
And the world today often feels like overwhelming, full of noise, division, and uncertainty. How do you personally find harmony in the chaos?
That's a good question. It's a continual choice over and over and over again. It's just simply digging in and tapping into the deepest resources inside yourself and having resolve to lift your chin and put one foot in front of the other and keep it going.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And do you think harmony is something we create within or something we discover outside ourselves?
It always has to start within, because if you're in turmoil and this harmony outside of yourself, I question whether, one could even recognize it. So it has to be within. I can't, yes, one can experience joy if they're in pain, but Real joy manifests from within and then is put outward.
Yeah, I love that. It
Yeah, thank
suggests
you.
it suggests like harmony isn't about escaping the world, but learning to hear its deeper music.
Correct. It's, as I said before, it's just not resisting. We're emoting human beings, and the more we can learn to accept emotions within ourselves as they arise, the healthier existence we'll have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your writing blends the literally with the spiritual. How does storytelling itself become a path to awakening?
There's lessons in stories. They say, I've read this a couple times, that the real indigenous shamans of the world, their greatest gift wasn't healing or seeing. It was their ability to tell stories. And through stories, the messages of uplifting and healing and growing, that's where they emerged in their gift of storytelling. That's I think storytelling in the realm of healing and personal growth is one of the most forgotten facets of what we can be tuning into, I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely. And can you share a moment when your words surprised you, like teaching you something you didn't expect?
Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. Maybe if you ask your question a little differently, it might provoke something.
Like, because writing is not just as an expression, right? But it's also a revelation for both the writers and the readers.
Right.
So, was there a moment where it just surprised you? Like, it taught you something that you did not expect at all?
When I've been blogging again, on Substack for the last 3 months. And, a few weeks ago, when there was a shooting at the school in Minneapolis, I wrote a piece that I didn't even have time to edit. And it actually came out better than really me putting my thoughts into my words and working to say what I said. I was so moved by just here in the U.S. we have another shooting. I mean, and the politicians aren't dealing with what it's going to take to heal that, but simply speaking out. I'm learning at this stage of writing again. Uh, just say it as simply and purely and cleanly as possible. And that's my advice to the people I work with and in their relationships with their spouses, their friends, their coworkers. I really teach, just say it. Pick words that are kind, but don't edit. There's power in truth, speaking it as simply and as cleanly as possible. 99% of most people have all the tools and resources to deal with hearing truth. It's when we deviate from truth and try to speak with finesse that the message really ends up getting messed up. It's easier and simpler just to say something as it is and drop it on the table so that everybody can see it, feel it, and then work with it.
That's great. And in times of rapid change, people often cling to certainty. Do you think letting go of certainty can actually be a form of freedom?
Well, I challenge you that there is no such thing as certainty. So trying to think and create certainty is a losing battle. I mean, it's an hour before noon here. I don't know what I'm having for lunch yet. So how am I going to know what life's going to bring me a moment from now or tomorrow? It's simply just showing up and showing up as open-hearted as we can, as one can, and accepting just lesson after lesson after lesson, and and doing that continually is the stepping stone for a meaningful life.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what practical ways can we practice living with more openness and less fear of the unknown?
I advise 20 minutes of meditation a day. I'm not a meditator, but 20 minutes, I've read the scientific explanation of what meditation does. But in the stillness that one can cultivate through meditation, it cultivates an acceptance of just being without expectations and without trying to control situations. Sitting for me helps me sit with what is. The other thing that advise, and it might not be available to people in big cities, but I'm out in nature every day for several hours. Nature's my teacher. And I believe humans as a species have separated themselves from nature, and they have lives, and then there's nature. I've learned that they're one and the same.
Yeah, that's liberating. Like to see uncertainty not as a threat, but as an invitation to expand.
Correct.
So, this conversation with Robert Hamburger reminds us that thriving isn't about fixing the world's strangeness. It's about meeting it with authenticity, resilience, and openness. When we allow pain to teach and uncertainty to stretch us, we find not only harmony, but liberation. May you carry this insight forward, thriving, not in spite of strangeness, but because of it. Keep listening, keep evolving, and keep walking your path with courage.